Hey guys, this is Insurance and Finance Live from the headquarters of Digital Scouting in Hamburg, Germany. Today we have a special guest here, Kamesh Goyal. He's the chairman of Digit Insurance. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, I'm super excited because Digit Insurance is a super mega success story from India. I mean, within 3 years, you and your team built up the company, raised over 220 million. The company is valued at 900 million. You have a team of 1,700 people, over 300 million in revenue. Wow, a lot of big numbers. Why did you found it, and how did you achieve this?
Sure. So, Robin, one number which I'm personally very excited about and also continuously track is our NPS and our customer rating, especially on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we are actually rated 4.9 by more than 7,000 customers on the Facebook. And our NPS on the claims is about 47, 48. And in non-claims NPS is more than 70 on a consistent basis. So I think that is something which is, I would say, extremely relevant for us, and I personally take huge amount of interest and pride in seeing how this number really develops. Besides some other figures which you mentioned, which are equally responsible.
But how do you get such an NPS? I mean, it's very hard to have like a lot of different actions that lead to that.
Sure. So I think very briefly, why we started Digit, or the first name we started was a German name called Oben Insurance. Somehow my team didn't like the name, and then we moved from Oben to Journal to Digit Insurance. I think one thing which consistently came across, and I've been working in insurance industry for a long time, was customers really struggled to know what is covered, what is not covered.
Yeah.
At the time of claim process, I think every step something new will get revealed to them. And in a country like India, where insurance awareness is not very high, we felt that there is a big opportunity to simplify insurance.
Okay.
So I think that is what how it started. I was also fortunate that there are a lot of colleagues I had worked with in the past. I think everyone shared a similar sort of a vision or a thought process. And in a way, they were also encouraging me to say, why don't we do something new?
Cool.
So I think I would say willingness and push from colleagues with whom we have worked for a long time. And I think this quest for simplicity, this really started the process of Digit.
Before I have my question for simplicity, I want to urge everybody out there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, live on our homepage at digitalscouting.de. Don't hesitate to ask a question. We have already a first one, which is more like a greeting from, I think, one of your employees. So good to hear you, Kamesh boss. I think it's really, really nice. But if you also have questions, for somebody has built up a great team and is really impressive company there, please comment. And if you're out there and we see the numbers already dozens on, actually over 100 already on the different channels, please like, share this podcast, this video, so everybody, the algorithm spreads us even more. One question concerning the simplicity. I think that's something super interesting. How do you achieve it, and what did you conclude, or what do you understand as simplicity in insurance?
Sure. So, Robin, it actually had two big pieces of simplicity. I think the first was the whole language in which we communicate with the customers, how we describe a product, how we design a product. So I think that was one piece. And the second was how do we actually make customers? And when I'm using the word customer, for us, it includes our business partners or distributors. How do we make the whole process of interacting with us by our end customers as well as our customers who are our distribution partners much more simpler? So let me just quickly give you a couple of examples. I think with every insurance product or policy which we sell, for every single product line, We send a 2-pager to a customer, which clearly mentions what is covered, what is not covered in the policy, and also what documents would be required at the time of claims. So everything is upfront. The language is the language which one uses in a day-to-day basis. So there is no notwithstanding and words like that at all. And from a partner's perspective, I think if you think of, we studied what an insurance agent or a retail broker or an automobile dealer, how do they really interact with the insurance companies? What are their pain points? And then our customer journeys were actually developed, looking at the pain points which people had on the product side.
And what kind of pain points were that? What kind of pain points were that?
So, for example, I think on the product side, if I say that in case of say travel insurance, for example, this was really one of the very, very early products we started selling. We realized that in India, the insurance companies were covering a delay of more than 6 hours. And when we looked at the data, we realized less than 0.5% of the flights get delayed beyond that.
Okay.
So we made the product simple to say, look, it'll be 75 minutes, for example. If we look at claims again in the travel example, to give in case of baggage, etc., insurance companies would ask for receipts in delay of baggage or loss of baggage, and we removed all of that, and we said, look, if your baggage is delayed, just send us a confirmation from the airline, and we'll pay the claim. So there's small things, and when we come to say health, for example, we actually offer customer various ways in which they can customize the product, because what a 25-year-old is looking in a product is very different from what a 60-year-old is looking at.
In case I play now the devil's advocate, I mean, I love simplicity. It's super important. It's a secret of Google and other companies to be simplistic. And I think a big reason why we are so disliked as insurance industry is where we're super complex and people say, oh, they're not going to pay anyway, even though it's not always true. As an actuary, I mean, not an actuary, don't get me wrong, but I already hear my actuary friends say you need to have complex language in order to manage risk in your policy. What do you say? Can we be simplistic, and also, you know, calculate products in a sustainable way?
So, Robin, I think you ask a very interesting question. It is not easy at all. So one of the conscious things we did when we started Digit was that the entire marketing team actually came from outside the financial services. So they had no idea what a financial product or insurance is. I can, when you were asking me this question, I was smiling because I was going back to a first discussion in 2017 when we were looking at our first product from a language and a customer journey simplification. And it took us almost 7 hours. And end of the day, I was wondering whether the simplicity would actually drive us crazy, because actuarial colleagues, legal colleagues, and then the marketing guys who were trying to simplify, they would not be able to find a common ground at all.
I can imagine that it's quite an interesting discussion that were.
Yes. But I think then a great thing happened that once we started selling our first product, we started actually getting comments and feedback, even from some of our ex-colleagues who still work in other insurance companies, to say, look, your policy document looks very interesting. It doesn't really look like an insurance document. And I think these are the small things which actually made things simple. And then our team went one step ahead. Now, every time we actually simplify a product, a group of 15-year-old people actually visit our office. They spend a whole day in reading the product, and then they actually tell us that what is something which cannot be understood by them. And when we explain them the context, then they redefine and they rewrite the language.
I love this, to give this to 15-year-olds, and if they don't understand it, we have a problem. I think that's very, very beautiful, and it's a hack. It's a hack, you know. I think every insurer can invite a group of that in as a group. And we got already some feedback, just that you know that people are listening, and I think you got a lot of people are excited that you are on the show. We have users from South America says tremendous job, what you're doing, terrific, congratulations, and also several other ones. I have one question from Bivas Zasha from YouTube. I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, but it said, in India, most every insurance companies are now looking into tier 3 and 4 cities. What about Digit, and what does that mean? Maybe or maybe Bivas, you can add what you meant with that. Or do you know what?
So, Robin, India in terms of geography is equal to continental Europe. And while the big cities drive a lot of business and economy, but there is a lot of action happening in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Yeah.
So in Digit, actually, if you look at today, almost 30% of our policies come beyond the top 50 cities. So we are continuously expanding our presence across India. And right from extreme north, which is Kashmir, to Andaman and Nicobar, which is really in the Indian Ocean, maybe close to about 2,000 kilometers away from the southernmost tip of India.
Yeah.
And in the west, just very close to Arabian Sea, in a place called Gandhidham, to extreme northeast. We are actually now present across India. So we are continuously expanding our presence because idea is to be present across the country.
Yeah. Okay, I got that. Maybe one question, I think another KPI that was super impressive, what I found was that you already gained significant market share. Why? Because a lot of Insurtech companies out there are also doing impressive things. Some are louder, some are not. But what you gained there is 1.6% and millions of customers. Maybe share a little bit more of those details, and how did you achieve this?
Sure. So, Robin, I think when we as a team were really looking at how the new companies have done, not only in India, but in other markets, two things actually struck us. One was that when we look at the profit pools of the general insurance industry, the actually profits really come from property and motor business.
Yeah.
Where the scope of innovation from a product side is actually maybe, I would say, more challenging or very difficult to really differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are a lot of opportunities in segments like gadgets insurance or travel insurance and stuff like that. And we felt that we really have to do both.
Yeah.
And motor, obviously, from a pricing perspective, is very difficult. I think across the world, motor is considered as one of the most complex products from pricing. And also, I think the claims handling can also be a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
While when we look at claims on gadgets or travel insurance, you could actually automate most of the stuff. While in motor, it is not easy. So we actually, from day one, started working on both segments. And we rapidly built a market share in motor and travel, and then gadget insurance. Then we went into property insurance. And about 6-7 months back, we launched health insurance. So health insurance was a segment where we were absent completely 1 year back.
Yeah.
If you look at April to June numbers, almost 20% of our premium has actually come from health, especially due to the COVID situation. So
what's the secret? What is the secret? Because I mean, you share the story, you say what happens. It sounds, but it's like sounds like a lot of work in a very diverse country to excite millions of people with a new company, new products. So how did you make the people begin to trust Digit Insurance?
So I think this is quite interesting. I would say that it has maybe, I would say, two major components. So one is that if you look at our team in almost every location, we were very fortunate to actually have people join us as head of locations who enjoyed a very good credibility in their own local market. So when you start, I think with such people, then most of the distributors, they are ready to give you a chance immediately because they feel that, okay, the guy is great. And I think this has played a big role. Secondly, I think if you look at we are backed by Fairfax Group. And Fairfax was a promoter of ICICI Lombard, which is India's largest private general insurance company. And they got out of that to actually start Digit Insurance in a way with me and my colleagues. So I think from a corporate perspective, people realize that Fairfax is a very serious investor. They are a very good investor in India. So I think we had this great combination of people locally with great credibility. So our team is really, really exceptional. And then also we are backed by a shareholder who is extremely well known in India as a large investor, and they also were the promoter of the largest private general insurance company. And I think lastly, my sense is that if services are good, if your product is good, I think people start rapidly recognizing you. So we haven't really spent much money on advertisement. Not even one television ad we have done till now. We hardly spend any money on marketing.
Don't start to do it.
So our idea is that instead of spending money on advertising and saying how great we are, it is actually better to just deliver a great service to the customers and to the partners. And slowly and steadily, word will spread. And I think just to give you another number, which I find very fascinating, say about 4 months back, if I'm talking about February, pre-COVID, January, February, we used to get about maybe 10,000, 11,000 direct visitors to our website. People who will write Digit Insurance and come.
Yeah.
Now that number has crossed 30,000 already.
Wow.
And we have not spent, we are spending less on whatever small money we are spending on digital marketing. We are spending even less now than what we were 4 or 5 months back. So I think I have a very strong belief, and I think our team is the same, that if we give good service, we are selling good products, I think slowly but steadily people will notice.
But what was your market entry strategy? Because having great service is great and all of these things, but how does an end consumer or somebody distributing the products, how did they got to know you? So was the local teams? Was that the secret ingredient?
So I think what we did, Robin, is that we made a list for each product. So just to, if I go back, say to 2017, late 17, when we really started going to the market, we made for each category, say jewelry, for gadgets insurance, for travel, for motor insurance. For each category, we made a list of the biggest distributors. And said, look, these are the guys we need to go out and meet, and we started meeting them. We started developing APIs very early in the market so that the whole onboarding process becomes much easier. And sorry, please.
So you mentioned partners. I think it's also very important for everybody out there, and we have already dozens and comments and a lot of questions. We're probably not going to get all questions. I'm sorry, I'm apologizing already in advance. We get to the questions of the audience in a minute, but you are also known for that you distribute via partners. You're super strong in e-commerce, something that's not natural to insurance companies. What do you suggest, or what do you recommend others in other countries that are thinking, well, we need to do this too? How can you achieve this? How can you become an attractive partner for other platform?
So I would say, I think the only thing which can really move the needle is the ability to offer their customers. In the process, one has to integrate a simple product, which customers can buy when they're buying the main product, and insurance comes more as an ancillary. So in our case, I think, which is very different from all Insurtech, and you have significantly more experience than I have on this, we actually don't go for standard APIs. We customize our API for every large e-commerce partner. So we go out and tell them, you don't have to change your process. You continue the process, and we will customize our customer journeys or APIs according to your requirements. So I think simplification, differentiated products, and a customized onboarding process is really the way to go.
This sounds a little bit like also a humble approach to say we adapt our API to you, and to go to large partners and say we are a hassle-free insurer. We are at your service. I think that's really, really interesting. I also like that you mentioned a few minutes back the team. When I look at successful incumbents and successful Insurtech, something that really strikes me is the quality of people they attract sometimes is amazing. And I think team is, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it is the key to a lot of things. Yeah, and one more thing is, We have like lots and lots of questions. But one more thing is I'm asking, and then I'm going to ask a question of from the others. And you get also support from Ali Reza from Tehran saying API customization sums up. I think that's a very good one. And it's technically complex. And my question to you is: you have built up a team of over 1,700 people. How do you make sure that this team stays great? How do you attract talent? Because I mean, India has a lot of great companies around where people can choose to work at.
So I think, Robin, I would say two very interesting things here. One is that I think in our case, everyone shares the passion which we want to do things. So I think that is really critical because people came here because they felt a change should be made. So I think that is critical. Secondly, I would say we give a lot of freedom, I think, to people. Most people can do what they feel like without checking with anyone else. Until unless it impacts, say they have to design a product, then they have to speak to the actuarial colleagues, or they want a new process, they have to speak to the tech guys. But on their own, they can do whatever they feel like. I think huge amount of empowerment. Lastly, but equally importantly, I think our teams and our people are owners of this company. I think I have not heard of any startup. In the last round, when we raised capital, almost 5 million euros was invested by our own team, actual cash, and we're talking about stock options.
Wow.
So everyone is the owner in this company. So when everyone feels like an owner, I would say it's not my job to retain them. I think it's their job to contribute and also retain others. So at least, and then we also have a great, I would say, a very good HR team. Then our sales team does a great job because they have people all across India and they try and connect. So I think it's a mix of a lot of things, but in my view, the biggest is empowerment. And secondly, people have put in their own money. They're owners here. They're not working for anyone else. They're working for themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a super valid point. And it reminds me, by the way, to the German family insurance, which the owner and CEO, Dr. Stefan Knoll, when they did their IPO, gave really significant parts of the company to every single employee. And that was something, I think, also something you do not hear and see too often. And when parts of your employees go in, I think it shows also it's a super strong message, I think, and that's super impressive. And I will surely take that with me. I have a question. You don't need to answer it because it's probably company secret, but I'm going to ask him anyway because it's not free. It's not from me. It's from Rajat Aurora, and he asks, which products is Digit willing to offer in the near future? That's question A. Question B is, what is your most successful product? That's my question. And what could other insurers outside India learn from it? So maybe you can ask both product questions.
Sure. So I think in terms of retail, we have actually launched now most of our products. I think health is the latest one. Now this needs to get more traction and it is getting on a day-to-day basis. On the retail commercial also now we have started offering a lot of these products on our portal. Some of them are not available on our website yet. So I think in the next few months, our objective would actually be to make available all retail products beyond health and motor. On our portal as well as on website. And then I think in terms of products per se, we would be, I would say we would be fine. The only thing which we are doing now for our partners, and I think it's a very critical project, we already came out with the first version of our portal, then we came out with the second version. In the next 3 months, I think we are changing completely the portal again. To make it more user-friendly. So I think this continuous improvement is part of our DNA. In the next 1.5 years, we are not looking at coming out of India yet. But I think after 12 to 18 months, we will definitely explore markets outside India.
Ooh, all right. That's interesting. That was one of my secret questions.
So maybe let me say this, Robin. We are looking at break-even this year. So if we can achieve a break-even, I think then it would be a time for us to really look at going out, which is very tough. I think we have not even completed 3 years. So to achieve a break-even for an insurance company and rapidly gain scale is very, very tough. But I think our aspiration is to break even. And then once we achieve break even, and then we know that, okay, now we know that we can build a business further.
Well, thank you very much for sharing this, announcement a little bit to say, okay, when we break even, we're looking also outside of India. That was one question I dared not to ask, but I think it's super interesting. I would like to know about, or at least, I mean, there are two strategies to go international. A lot of people go outside directly, the neighboring countries. Others go across the globe. I'm curious what you're thinking about, and but you don't need to answer if the question is like a company.
No, so I think we haven't really decided, Robin. I would say at times, if you think too far about expansion, you might stumble in the short term. So our objective is to ensure that we achieve a break even this year, and then we will look at. In our team, we actually have a few colleagues, including me, who, thanks to Allianz, we have a decent idea about some markets. So we will really explore all this after 12 to 18 months. We haven't really given it a thought.
Very good, very good. And I think that's the beauty of digital transformation, and that's maybe also the beauty, not the beauty, but within the horror of COVID, what I see is that players that prepared and went digital and tried to modernize and went the hard way and really did it, that they, are rewarded now with these opportunities. And digital player like digital insurance, you can transfer that way easier, even though it's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. It's way easier than to reproduce, I don't know, physical sales force, and that is not digitalized. We are almost to an end. I want everybody to say thank you out there. Don't go away yet. Write down your last question, one of the dozens we have here already. And I want to also to encourage you, join our newsletter, our WhatsApp reminder. We have great guests always in this show, and don't hesitate to ask, any further questions. And somebody asked, where do you see Digit in 5 years before you announce your, international ambitions? So I think we can put this aside. Maybe let's go a little bit back. I mean, we have a lot of great questions here, but one of my questions I would love to know is a little bit, when you look back at the last 3 years with this impressive, journey, what are your key learnings? So you say, well, this I learned.
So whatever you are building, build for scale. Otherwise, your expenses will never really be able to justify. Once you are built for scale, then go for opportunities where you can actually build revenue on scale too. And lastly, have a great team, because without the third one, the first two are anyway relevant. So these three would really be the key learnings.
Wow, thank you very much. And again, everybody out there, we have dozens, again, I think over hundreds of people right now watching on different channels. I see all the stats here from YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. But we do a shout out for everybody who support us with their like and share. So if you have not liked or shared yet, please do so. We have people from Russia, from India, from Iran, from Europe, from Germany, from Africa, South America, North America, USA, Canada, people from all around the world tuning in right now. So thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody who asked the question. I'm so sorry that we could not post every question, but I hope you forgive me for that. And again, a lot of praises, and people are celebrating and are happy for you and your success and of your team. So thank you very much for joining and also sharing your story. And I'm very much looking forward to see you in person someday at a conference and listening to you then.
Thanks, Robin, and thanks everyone who joined to listen, and thanks for your great wishes. Thank you.
Thank you.